Hello and aloha to everybody in the earth. Today is 19th of the May, time 11:57 in the city of Guelph. My name is Abbas Tamori. Continuing on the topic, the 5th chapter of the 2nd book, which was explaining the deed and action that result in a spiritual quality and attributes. Since there are many of them, I'm going to be a bit more concise, and I've chosen 3 books of Baha'ullah. The Book of Certitude. Tonight I'm going to bring a reference from page 161 to 200, as it is written in the internet on the Baha'i reference-library.org. From the Book of Certitude. I have done this quotation last night. Tonight I'm going to explain from the same quotations few of these counsels and recommendations of Baha'u'llah to get to the spiritual path. One of them, he says, quote, that the seeker must all times put his trust in God. Now, a lot of time we have problem with that. I probably say that because I'm one of them. Many of us, when we become Baha'i, we love Baha'u'llah completely, even unconditionally. But nevertheless, we don't listen to him. We almost like him like a child. We like him, we love him to help him. If we don't see that we have to get help from him, and this lack of trusting in him, while totally loving him, even go to the point to die for him, but not trusting him in what he says, is a serious problem that we have to, as a Baha'i, as a spiritual, as in a spiritual path to the Baha'ullah, we have to recognize this. Let me give you one example. When Baha'u'llah was in jail, he was banished, by the Ottoman Emperor in what is known as Turkey right now, in the city of Iqan. Well, it was in, the big jail. It was a city, prison city really, Iqan was. Many Baha'is from Iran, long distances, these poor people, they came maybe 6 months, maybe a year. Those days, 150 years ago, trying to come to see Baha'u'llah. So you see how much of a fervent desires these people had. And when they come in town, Baha'u'llah had some serious enemies. One of them was Sayyid Muhammad Ali Isfahani, who actually got into the mind of his stepbrother of Baha'u'llah. His name is Yahya Azal, and made him to go against Baha'u'llah, against his actual brother. And Azal somehow was, through the seduction and sedition of this individual, he falls for it. So the poor Baha'is, they want to come and see Baha'u'llah, and these people, along with another fellow, I don't know what his name is, some guy from Kashan, they created a lot of problem for these Baha'is. Poor Baha'is, they fell into a lot of trouble. They couldn't see Baha'u'llah. And all kind of things they were doing to Baha'u'llah. Baha'is could not take this anymore. They just went on their own. They loved Baha'u'llah, but they would not listen to him no longer, because the pressure was too much, they couldn't handle it. As a matter of fact, on their own, they went to the point that they actually killed, as it is written, Sayyid Muhammad Ali Isfahani and this fellow from Kashan. They spared Azal, but they got rid of these two because they knew these are the people who were causing all these problems. Well, you could imagine what happens, because they didn't trust Baha'u'llah. And Baha'u'llah said, do not do this. But they couldn't handle it. Like, these two people were really causing a lot of trouble for Baha'u'llah. Baha'u'llah was suffering from them all the time. So they went and killed them. As a result, Baha'u'llah was interrogated while in the jail, while in banishment. He was interrogated by the Ottoman Emperor. That they thought he's responsible for this, which Baha'u'llah wasn't. Because they didn't trust. We have to practice this. I have seen it in my life many times. I disagreed with Baha'u'llah, quite honestly. I thought this particular rule is not for me. Every time I've done it, I bang my head on the wall. It is impossible that he says something not to do or to do, and you think that you can spare yourself. It's not for you, you know. It's for others. You get into this, who's going to suffer is yourself. But I know at the same time it's difficult. You know, and at the time that you know there's all the wisdom in your head and others, the whole society says that you gotta confront this person. And Baha'u'llah says, do not. Whatever action he says, do not do it. You do it and you suffer. I've had share of my disobedience to him. So I learned in time that I have to trust him. He says to do this. How could you sit beside the creator of this universe and you're still not listening to him? The only way Baha'u'llah would forgive you for this, as if to consider you are a little baby with a diaper, with a loose diaper, going around, essentially, reliving yourself right in the middle of the living room in front of him and all that. The only way he could forgive you, that you're that childish. But if you know something and you want to break the rule, he's not going to punish you really for it. The punishment already is integrated, is embedded. Not doing it, the punishment is a part of it. You're going to get it. So this is what he says. At all times put his trust in God, which refers to the manifestation of God. Not a God of your own making. Okay, there's no other God except Baha'u'llah for this time. Anything beyond and above him is oblivion, is absolute darkness. There's nothing that we can understand. Okay? So, this is one thing. In the same page, the second one, he says, quote, he must never seek to exalt himself above anyone, must wash away from the tablet of his heart every trace of pride and vain glory. Oh God, this vain glory, not glory, but vain glory. Every trace of the pride. So, this is again, in my opinion, this is again one of the behests of Baha'u'llah, talking to us, to me, with a reference to others. You can think of yourself your God. You can think of yourself whatever you want, as high as you want. You cannot possibly think as high as Baha'u'llah think about you. You know how big you are? You're so big that God of the universe, infinite universe, has actually paid attention for your own sake to come down to manifest themselves in the body of Baha'u'llah. Kill thousands of people for your sake. How big can you get? You're always underestimating yourself when it comes between the relationship between you and your God. However, you're always wrong. Always wrong when you are comparing yourself with others. That is where the problem comes. First you compare to see if he's higher or what. And the comparison, you find that, uh-oh, he might be bigger and better. Or first you think, I'm better. When you think you're bigger, well, you go on and you find that you're not. Now you're not going to accept this. Then you become arrogant. If you accept it, you're not arrogant. But when you don't accept your own finding in comparison to another Baha'i, another person, whoever, then you become arrogant. So don't start comparing yourself with others. Nobody is comparable to anybody else. You are your own man, everybody else is their own. Their problem, their achievement is not yours. Yours has to be done yours. No one can compete with you. Therefore, comparison between the two individuals and the planet as far as they've gone in their life is not wise things to do. Because in the comparison, you're trying to play the role of God. As a result, you find that you're wrong. When you're wrong, you don't accept it. Usually people who are comparing themselves are hoping that they find themselves better. And then they find they're not. Then they become arrogant, you see. So always mankind is overestimating himself when he's comparing himself with other people. This is what he says, wash it away. Simply because arrogant means I am superior than another being. It's just not scientific. Baha'u'llah says all of us are the part of the jigsaw puzzle that creates humanity. All of us are the part of a cell that makes one, but no cell can be better than other cells. No man can be. Everyone is needed. Everyone is required. As far as who's higher and lower, Baha'u'llah says stay away from that. I'll get to that too. So that much I'll talk about this. Ooh, okay. Then the third one I've written here, he says, must cling into patience and resignations. Ooh. Resignation is accepting the consequence. Patience is the measures that has to take to do something. There are things that has to be taken in a minute, in a second, or right away. When the truth comes, just get up, right away tell the truth. But if you have to wait through your teaching to see when this person is responding to the cause of God, Baha'u'llah says, be patient. You plant the seed. That's it. Abdullah says, you did the right things. You won because the right thing began. Do not wait, Abdullah says, for the result. You may die. Result may come after. This is what we have to be patient means to understand. The time. The matter of time for the process that takes. And accept the consequences. That's what resignation is. Okay? There are consequences to the things that we have to be accepting. We have to surrender to that. If we don't, then another sickness and disease comes. Another beautiful one, he says, observe silence. Ooh. Quote, observe silence and refrain from idle talk. For the tongue is a smoldering fire, and the excess of a speech a deadly poison. I have to remember that.